got to do a thing. Mirroring video. Look at that. Amazingly, we are live. We are back. We are not. What is this? What does that button mean? Lost connection. For real? That's not good. Well, we're live everywhere else, but we're not live on TikTok, and it bothers me to have to turn on this button, but let's see what happens. What are we connected to? We're connected to the wrong thing, that's why. Okay, let's try connecting to the right thing. Hopefully this fixes it. Is it going to fix it? Well, I don't want to start my first day back with technical issues, but you know what? That seems like that's what's happening. Oh, no, things are happening. No, we got people coming into the room. It's still showing that we lost connection, though. So I don't know what that means. Don't know what that means exactly. We have people pouring into the room, and it's still showing lost connection. Let me go onto my other device. Lost connection. All right. We may have some interference-y sounds. We're going to turn off the Wi-Fi. Pro football craze, what's going on? Welcome back. Still, so, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Show we're LTE. We're showing lost connection. Are we just going to have that kind of day today? Let's hope not. Okay. Can you see me? I don't know. I don't know what's going on because I got a red light. Q, can you hear me?
I can hear. No, I can't hear you on TikTok, and I can't see you on TikTok either.
Strange. Okay. We're going to crash the app, and we're going to come back.
If you're being kidnapped.
Okay. Here we go. Go live. Resume live. Okay. We're back. We're using data instead of doing what we were trying to do. Oh, I guess we're always using data. Anyway, we're back. We're working. We have a green light. Apparently, it's happening. Long time no see, everybody. Well, some of you saw me in the evenings when we did a couple of lives over the last 2 weeks while I was on holidays. But it's back in the office now. I'm back in the office, so excited to be here. It's been strange not seeing you every day, or being seen by you every day. In any case, we're here. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I am on social media answering your traffic and police questions. See, I'm not saying just TikTok anymore. I'm saying social media. Why? Because we are simultaneously simulcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, where else? Facebook? Yeah. We're everywhere. We're everywhere we need to be to get to all of you. So if you've got questions, use the Q&A section. We've got a wonderful gang of moderators. They're not police officers. They are volunteers, and they're here out of the goodness of their hearts to help out, keep it all classy, make sure that we're not getting spammed and folks aren't being disruptive in the chat. And I don't read the chat. So if you're in the chat, I just can't. I can't get to all the questions if they're in chat. I can only get to them if they're in the Q&A. But lucky for you, moderators know lots of stuff, and they answer a lot of the questions in the chat room. But if there's something that, for whatever reason, you can't get into the Q&A, they'll convey the message for you. You may have heard Q's voice. That's Q. She's helping. She's in my ear. She's in your ear, even though she's not on camera. I saw a message spin by the chat that said, can a deaf person drive? And yes, the answer is yes. Hearing is not a requirement under the HTA for driving. So someone who is hearing impaired can, in fact, drive, which is cool. Okay. We have Neon, long time no talk. Good blessed Wednesday morning, everyone, from Neon. We have what is the requirement to be an officer in Canada? You have to be a citizen or permanent resident. You have to, of course, pass all your testing, and you have to pass all the requirements, both physical, psychological, and academic, and then you have to pass all your courses in order to graduate from the police college. There's a vision requirement. There's obviously health requirements, but check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. There you'll see all the requirements of policing for the city of Toronto And that's generally the same for all of Ontario, but every service may have slightly different requirements. Let's see here. Am I allowed to put drag racing tires on my MR2? Drag racing tires are generally not street legal tires. So if your street legal tires are on your are made to look draggish, then you might be okay. But if they're truly track tires, they're likely not. They're likely not legal for the road. Q wants to know where you got your MR2. I haven't seen an MR2 in a long time. Is this
Right?
yeah,
Like
is this
they're
an older
very,
MR?
very vintage now. And I'm like, where did you find one? Or is
I
it
don't think
mint?
I don't think I could ever fit into an MR2, so I'm not so interested in where you got yours. But they're really cool. I thought they were a nice looking vehicle. There's a lot of trucks and cars from my childhood, my teenage years that I miss seeing on the road. Just looking over, pro football craze wants to know if I enjoyed my holiday. I did. I was still creating TikToks while I was off, but I did enjoy it. It was great, and it's it's like every holiday I've ever had. At the end of the holidays, when you're most relaxed and you're just getting into the groove where you're truly enjoying, and it's time to come back to work. So apparently, I need more than 2 weeks off in a stint. Maybe I need to take a month off at a time. OG from Facebook wants to know why are expired license plate stickers not being enforced? It's a very good question. The answer to that question is this. There has been an extension period offered by the Ministry of Transportation, the Ontario Ministry, during COVID. So they wanted to make it safer for everybody. They didn't want to force people to go in and
TikTok
renew
lagged.
things. I'm sorry, what happened?
TikTok lagged.
TikTok lagged? Okay, TikTok lagged. Well, we're here again. But thanks for letting me know. So the deal is that they extended any sticker and driver's license, for that matter, that expired from March 1st, 2020 till, well, now it's over at the end of February 28th, 2022. But anyone who had an expired tag or driver's license during that period was extended. They weren't getting tickets for it, again, because they wanted to keep people safe. But the deal is that is ending February 28th, and everybody who has an expired license or sticker has to have it renewed before then, or they're eligible to be ticketed after that point. So thanks for bringing it up. It's a great question, and everybody in here is likely going to be affected by that. So you can do it online, you can do it in person, and you should do it. Get it renewed, because you don't want to be that person getting the ticket come February 28th. Okay, Big Jeff Fresh with a good morning from YouTube. We got we've got a bunch. We got Q testing on all platforms, so Twitch and YouTube, everything working there. Awesome. Thank you. Let's see here. Need more enforcement on driving with no lights. There is a lot of enforcement. We have to see it to stop it. But when we do see it, that is something that it's an easy win. We usually find a lot of impaired drivers that way too. At least I used to. Someone forgetting to turn their lights on tends to be someone who's not paying attention. And just seeing that we have about 850 people in the room. Good morning, everybody. Long time no see. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. I'm answering police and traffic questions. If you've got them, drop them in the Q&A. If you are in the chat, we've got moderators who are in there helping out, but they are not police officers. They are volunteers, and they know lots of stuff. They've been helping out for a long time. So if you have questions, drop them in the Q&A for me. Drop them in the chat for general discussion, and moderators can also help out there too. Let's see here. Is reflective tint allowed if it's 30%? No, reflective tint is not permitted in Ontario for the front three windows. No tint on the front windshield, but you can't have reflective tint directly left and right of the driver because it prevents or obscures the interior of your vehicle. You're not allowed to prevent us from seeing inside of the vehicle. Not just us, but the public as well. And people say, well, why is that? Well, we need to be able to see that you're paying attention, who you are, that you're be able to give a description in the event that you're involved in a collision and flee, in case there's, well, any number of reasons that we need to be able to see a driver. So it's part of the law. You can't obscure the interior of your vehicle with colored or reflective tint. And that's separate from the requirement for having 30% for safety. Okay. A couple people tried to jump in on the live and go live on screen. We don't bring guests in on this channel unless it's somebody we know. It's a police channel, so maybe we'll do some where we actually have guests on. It would be cool to meet some people face to face, but we're not doing it today. If my clutch slips and I go sideways, is that illegal? So if you lose control because you don't know how to drive, is that what you mean? Like if you lose control of your vehicle, you're responsible for everything that happens. Is that stunt driving? Well, if it's If it's Q says it could also be the fact that you need to replace your clutch because you burnt it out. But yeah, losing control of your vehicle or not knowing how to drive or whatever the case may be may not be stunt driving specifically, even though you could get charged for it if you lose control and it appears that you are stunt driving, because whether you say you were doing it intentionally or not is up for discussion and interpretation by the officer who's investigating. So going sideways, bad to do. I burnt out a clutch once in one day. Sorry, go ahead, Q.
You drink.
I'm going to drink.
Okay, there's a lot of people in the chat that are telling you that they're happy that you're back and they're glad that you're
Oh,
here.
thanks so much. It's really great to be back. It's been weird not being here every day. I really, it's part of my routine as much as it is for many of you who come on to TikTok and the other platforms to join into the morning discussion. But I'm thrilled to be back, and we're in for a short week this week. It's just till Friday. Then next week, because of New Year's and getting ready for our Happy New Year's, we got to do a New Year's show. But we short week next week, so it's still vacation-ish mode. But thank you so much. I appreciate all the support. Let's see here. We got to jump into another question. Are LED light strips allowed inside a vehicle? Yes. I would suggest having them in the wheel wells. So if you have glow, it should be under the windows. It shouldn't be causing distraction for other drivers. Now, that's not to say it's illegal, just that I don't think it's a good idea. So you can have lights in the vehicle. You can have your interior light on while you drive. It's not safe, but you can do it legally. Why is it unsafe? Because apparently TikTok's having some issues today. We're full signal strength. We're full green. We got nothing going on, but apparently TikTok's
Yeah, when
causing
it
some
pauses,
issues.
it'll only catch back on when it goes again for you.
When it
And
goes
it's
again?
pause again. So when it picks back up, it actually cut off everything that you said.
Oh, that's not good. No bueno. So we don't know what's going on with TikTok. I was watching a live. There was a woman with she and her boyfriend had a king cobra. They had multiple venomous snakes in Arkansas, I think. And they had this thing in their backyard. And I don't understand what happened, but apparently their TikTok was constantly, well, I know it was constantly freezing because I was watching it. So apparently that's happening with our live today, and I don't know why that is. So apologies to anyone watching who's experiencing lag on our TikTok. We have no signal strength issues, and we have no alerts that there's a problem. But I'll report it after the live to TikTok. For anyone who's having issues and doesn't want to deal with the lag, you're welcome to come join us on our YouTube channel. We're live streaming there right now as well. You can also get us on Twitch, LinkedIn Live, Twitter, Facebook, anything that makes you happy, you can get us there. If it's on Twitch or LinkedIn, you're going to be looking for a voiceover cop. If it's Twitter, Facebook, where else? YouTube, it's going to be traffic services, and that's how you'd find us if you want to watch us there. Normally, I like to say that that TikTok is the place to be, but if it is experiencing some sort of technical issues today, well, then maybe it's not the place to be today. In any case, we're going to keep going. The LED strip's not a big deal, but it does cause your eyes to. Sorry, I don't know how much of the answer I got cut off in the lag. So going back to the LED strips, you can have them. You can have your interior lights on, but it could cause your eyes to dilate. At which point you are looking at a position where it could be considered dangerous. So go safely. Wheel wells, glowing wheel wells, no big deal. I would keep it out of the upper areas.
TikTok really doesn't like your answer. You froze again.
Every time I say an answer, they don't like am I being shadow banned live with my answers? Abby is saying good morning on YouTube. Good morning to you. Okay. Could I drive to the hospital without a license? No. You can't drive anywhere without a license. And if we stopped you or if you were involved in a collision, we would charge you for that. Are you driving yourself because you're hurt? Still, if you're hurt, it's additional reasons not to be driving a motor vehicle, especially without a license. Yeah, don't drive a vehicle without a license. You're not insured in the event of a collision. There's all sorts of things that could go wrong. How do I become a cop here in Quebec? I don't know. I assume it's very similar to that of being a police officer anywhere. You got to find out what the requirements are, make sure you meet them, test, and apply. But good luck to you. I wish you all the best in getting involved in a fantastic career. Dark Dragon says, can cop cars catch an MR2? Nothing is faster than the radio. Let's see here. How do you call a traffic stop on the radio? Oh, how do we notify our dispatcher that we're doing a traffic stop? we say, hi, dispatch, we're doing a traffic stop. We don't do a gazillion codes here. In Toronto, we are very matter of fact. We also use a computer dispatch system, so we can also just hit a button, punch in a license plate, hit a button, it'll mark us on a call, it'll tag where we are, and immediately pull up the information that we need on the vehicle we're stopping. So it's a one-stop shop, one button go. The best place to pull over when on a highway. I would say that depends on what you're talking about. Being pulled over by the police is one thing. Moving out of the way for emergency vehicles is another. And pulling over when your vehicle is disabled is yet another situation. So if you're being pulled over by a police officer, more often than not, we want you on the right curb because that's the largest, or a shoulder, I should say. It's the safest place. There may be a shoulder on the left, but it's usually a smaller one, so we avoid that. But if you have emergency vehicles trying to get through, it's the closest shoulder or edge of roadway that we want you to move to. So because getting you out of the way is the priority, not nothing else. Now, if you're pulling over because your vehicle is disabled, try and get to the right shoulder where you have lots of space. And hopefully you've got a cell phone. You're going to be calling for roadside assistance, but you want to stay in your vehicle on most highway situations and leave your seatbelt on. If you're not actively doing something outside of your vehicle, for whatever that reason would be, even when I get into a police car, if I pull someone over on the highway and I'm waiting for something to happen, I am getting in the car and I'm putting my seatbelt back on when I'm in the car, because it's amazing how many people drive into stopped vehicles on the highway. Dan from Metropolitan Police in the UK. How's it going? Lovely to hear from someone on the other side. Was it across the pond? It's good to hear from you. Thanks for saying hello. And yeah, I'd love to come back and visit again. I met so I don't know if you were part of the contingent that came to the September 11th memorial. I used to go on a regular basis to New York City, but lots of your colleagues came down to New York to march. I think we had about 200 of you guys. It was a big turnout. Anyway, back to questions. Oh, apparently there's a police shortage in England right now. Or in the UK, I should say, and they're looking for help. So, here. Oh, okay, I'm misunderstanding what Q is saying. So you think we should recruit? Apparently, we need more people. Yeah, Q saying, why don't you just say it? Why are you typing?
Because you were talking and then you were mid-sentence talking to Dan M. So I was like, okay, then I'll just type it to you. It's quicker rather than talking over you. And then you can take the opportunity to drink now. See?
There you go. See, it all
works
out. Let's see here. In USA, do you guys chase speeders? We tend not to chase people. We don't usually engage in pursuits over speeding. We tend to get a description and a license plate, and then meet you at your house to issue your tickets, or arrest you, depending on what the situation is. But we gauge pursuits or weigh the importance or the willingness to engage in a pursuit based on public safety. It's the highest priority is putting others at risk. So if it's a minor thing, we're probably not going to chase, but know that we're not going to leave it and let it go. So it's not an invitation to do whatever you want. Let's see here. To go over the speed limit ? What is this? Dark Dragon wants to know if I know someone that goes. If I know someone that goes into labor, am I allowed to go into the speed limit? No, you're not allowed to speed. It doesn't matter if you're on fire. You're not allowed to speed. There's no legal excuse for you to exceed the speed limit ever. If you have someone in labor, call an ambulance. They will get you there faster. They're legally allowed to exceed the speed limit. You're allowed to drive them in labor, but don't speed. All that does is put you and everybody else at greater risk. So that's the answer to that one. What happens if you drive in the wrong lane? What's the wrong lane? You mean oncoming traffic? What do you mean? How illegal is it to drift in the snow? Drifting, regardless of snow, ice, asphalt that's dry, wet, doesn't matter. Drifting is stunt driving. Stunt driving is illegal. You lose your license for 14 days. No, you lose the car for 14 days. You lose your license for 30. I got all wound up again. Okay. Wound up in terms of I haven't said this in a few days. Okay.
Someone in chat can't read chat answers.
Okay.
Can you vape and drive?
You can vape and drive as long as it's not illegal substances that you're vaping. You can't vape anything that has THC in it. Even though it's legal outside of driving, you can't do that inside a motor vehicle, especially when you're in command of it. And you cannot. Uh, what else?
Have children under the age of
Well,
16.
I was actually going to say you can't fog the car that you can't see out of it. Additionally, if you have anyone inside the vehicle under the age of 16, that becomes a violation of the not Safe Streets, Smoke Free Ontario Act. So you can be charged for that. So you can vape, you can smoke, but there are conditions. And let's see here. What do you do if you break down on the 400? I would be moving to the right off the road as far as possible. Obviously not into a ditch, but you want to get off the road. And the right side. If you break down in the middle of the lane, stay in your vehicle, leave your seatbelt on, call for assistance. And I would be calling for police, not a tow truck, because you need to get that lane shut down for your safety. We have a couple of folks who have jumped in with questions. Let's see here. Love Don't Cost a Thing on YouTube says, I got a ticket back in 2019 and the cop said I had bad tags, but it was a new tag and had a permit and I still haven't went in. Can I go to jail? So I'm assuming you're in the States just because you're referring to it as a tag and not a validation sticker, as we commonly refer to it. So I don't know enough about your situation to know what the story is. I would certainly go to your ministry or what is it called? What is it called? I can't think of what it's called in the States. But Ministry of Transportation or your
DMV?
DMV, that's it. Check to make sure that everything's in order because certainly you don't want to have an issue. If you never dealt with your ticket when you're issued a ticket in the United States, they don't just go away, and you could be arrested if you go back to that jurisdiction if you have outstanding tickets that were left unpaid or undealt with. So definitely want to look into that. Call the jurisdiction and ask for the status of your tickets. That would be my suggestion. OG wants to know why are e-bikes allowed to exceed 30 kilometers an hour if they are missing pedals? Is it categorized as a motor vehicle requiring insurance? Can you clarify details? Thank you. So so here's the details. In Ontario, if you follow all of the guidelines for becoming an e-bike, which means it cannot exceed 32 kilometers an hour, not 30, but 32 kilometers is the maximum. It has to have pedals. It has to have a number of things. And if you modify it so it no longer meets that grade, it's not an e-bike. It does require license, ownership, and insurance. So we do enforce that. It's not on the same priority as the big four. Obviously, we're looking for driver behavior that leads to serious injury and death. That's our priority. But those are also a major issue when people are taking e-bikes and turning them into motorcycles that are traveling 60 kilometers an hour. We see it and we deal with it. Pepe says, good morning, everyone. Welcome back, Sean. Thank you very much, Pepe. Mark Anthony says, what is this? Finch Avenue West at Jane has a ton of wrong way drivers who don't bother to read the signs and read configuration has recently changed. That is a major problem when you're doing construction. And I haven't been in the area recently, but if they have lots of construction and people are doing the wrong thing, it is obviously very dangerous. But I'll let the guys know. I say the guys and the team that does enforcement, I'll let them know that there's an issue in that area. You can also make a complaint if you are online and you want to go on to our what's called the Citizen Online Reporting entry. It's www.torontopolice.on.ca/CORE, CORE. You can actually put in a complaint there. It'll be generating a report that gets issued to a 31 division officer, because that's what the Jane and Finch is, and they will be able to evaluate that area and see what's going on. Let's see here. Cordell Beaudry wants to know, can you drive a four-wheeler on Harveys? Can you try? So four-wheelers are off-road vehicles. In some municipalities, you can drive them on the road under certain conditions. And additionally, you can also not drive them on main roads. You certainly can't drive it in Toronto. So I would check with your local authorities as to whether or not you can go through a Harvey's drive-through. I would suggest against it, but that's just me. I don't have experience with off-road vehicles other than having used them myself. Going back to TikTok, can the passenger of a vehicle smoke THC? No, you cannot consume marijuana or THC products inside of a motor vehicle. It's not permitted. So you can't, obviously, because the driver is also going to be exposed to it. So there are rules surrounding that. Same as alcohol, you cannot drink alcohol inside of a vehicle, even if it's off the highway. Okay. Is it worth to report people using their cell phones? It's always good to report people who are breaking the law, especially with something that is as dangerous as cell phone use. So, yes, you can make the report. You can do it online after the fact, or you can call. If you think that the driving behavior is such an issue that it's more than simply someone using their phone, it's going to cause a collision, then that could be considered an emergency to you. And if that's how you feel, then you could call in and dispatch someone. It may be more than just the cell phone. They may be impaired by alcohol and using a cell phone. So it could be a number of things. Tint laws. Do I get to press that button? Tint laws. I got to come up with a better sound effect for tint laws. We're working on a new pew pew sound. At least I haven't got it queued up yet. Sorry. Tint laws are this. If you have a motor vehicle registered in Ontario, in order to be safetied, it has to have no more, or not have more than 30% light blockage in the windows left and right of the driver. The front windshield can't have any tint unless the vehicle is manufactured before 2017, so a 2016 or older vehicle, at which point it can have no more than 3 inches of tint across the top, the sun strip. That's the only time you can have a tint strip on the front windshield. So what happens next? Rear windows. You can have as much as you want to tint on the rear. You don't have to have windows in the rear. So you can tint your rear windows. You must have at least one clear view by way of mirror to the rear, whether it's the rear view mirror hanging on your front windshield or your driver or passenger side mirrors. And that's that basically. You can't have reflective tint. You can't obscure the interior of your vehicle because there's a law for that as well. But safety is separate from that. So you can get safetied with 30%. You can... however, you cannot obscure your interior of your vehicle with reflective or colored coating or spray. I'm trying to think if there's another word for it. But the deal is that if we as police officers look inside your vehicle and cannot see you because of that coating, whether it be dark or bright outside, you could still get a ticket, even if it's 30%. Or wide wheels. Go ahead.
Someone in chat keeps spamming about running school bus stop signs. What's the fine and the charge for it? Do you know?
There is. Let's pull it up because I have not. I was looking at this recently. However, I don't recall off the top of my head. So apparently there's new. What's that?
Check chat.
Check chat. I can read your answer. Okay, 1 second here. School bus. Failed to stop. Where are we going here? School bus crossing guard failed. No. Yeah, I'm scrolling through. I don't. If I don't find it in a second, I'm going to skip and we'll deal with it later. But the failed to stop for school bus. Here we go. Looks like $490 and 6 demerit points. Signal lights meeting. Okay. So yeah, that's a big one. $490 and 6 demerit points. I would not want to do that. And there's also new stuff coming out where we're looking at cameras being installed into school buses to catch all these people who don't know how to follow the rules. So things are happening. Okay, let's go back into the. I don't know if I even got that question. Okay. Why do cops not pit people immediately? You're talking about in a pursuit situation. A pit maneuver or a pursuit of any kind is highly a high risk situation. So everything's got to be weighed. So pitting or intentional contact isn't the first thing we do. Okay. Can I use my license from a different country? If you don't live here, if you're visiting, you can use a license from your home country. But if you live here, the only license we'll accept is the license of Ontario. So as soon as you move here and you've been here for 30 days as a new resident, you're obligated to apply for a local license. You can't use your international or previous one. Hello from Germany. It's really nice to hear. Hey, Germany, how you doing? Nice to have some international viewers. We had some from England. We had somebody from New Zealand reach out to me over the weekend. It was the weekend. No, it was the beginning of the week. The days off that I was not here. So we've had a lot of international folks welcome to our live. And it's been a while since I mentioned who I was and why I'm here. So my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go live on social media answering your traffic and police questions. We also have a ton of content that's on TikTok, and we try and share that all over with our other platforms as well. But the best source is going to be TikTok, where we have the vast majority of our videos posted. Okay. How to pull over for an emergency vehicle. Safely and quickly, if you can do the both safely. So you want to be as soon as you hear that siren, you can identify that they're coming up behind you. You need to pull over. You make the move to the closest curb or edge of roadway as safely and quickly as possible, and come to a stop. So that's the way to do it. Now, if you're on the highway, it's multi-lane highway. That might be two. You might be closer to the left edge of roadway. That would be the place that you would go. But beyond that, what are you looking for? Let me let me ask for clarification. Was there some secret sauce you were looking for in the answer, or was it the general answer you were looking for? Either way, moving on. Are amber strobe lights illegal on a personal car? Amber strobes are not illegal. They're hazard lights. They're flashing hazard lights. Now, if you're using them to attempt to get traffic clearing or impersonate a police officer, they could be an issue based on how you intend to use them. But simply having ambers and using them as ambers is not illegal. Okay. Driving with studded tires, but from Northern Ontario. So Northern Ontario, you're allowed to have them, and if you visit Southern Ontario with them, you are allowed to sort of pass through. I think you're allowed for 30 days to be in Southern Ontario. You have to look it up to be sure on the length of time, but I think it's 30 days. In any case, if you don't live in Northern Ontario, you cannot have studded tires. Okay. Is it illegal to drift on private property? No, it is not. Now, you have to know that the law was written to keep people from drifting and stunting in private property that is more along the lines of major events. Let's see here. Sorry, Q, what is illegal?
You read it as, is it illegal? And you said, no, it's not.
For what?
With the current question in chat or your QA.
Is it illegal to drift on private property? Is that what you're talking about?
Let's move on. I'll tell you about it after.
Okay, so is it... okay, regardless, is it legal to drift on private property, or is it illegal to drift on property? You're not allowed to drift on private property. But yeah, better off just coming up live and interrupting, because I get getting thrown off by the private chat. It's just taking us on the segues. So yeah, it's intended to be for people on major places like parking lots, going to the Best Buy and acting the fool and causing issues there. But the way the law is written, yes, it's illegal to drift on private property. Let's see here. Okay, we got more. Can I drift on my own property? Technically, no. We're not hanging out in your backyard waiting for you to do it, but it's not legal, technically. Can a police first responder take a kid to the ER? Do you mean in their own personal vehicle? Do you mean if I'm a police officer and I come by and we're not supposed to transport anybody. We're not paramedics. We're not covered for that. That's not something we should be doing. So what we would more often than not do, if we pulled you over and you were speeding above the speed limit on the way to the hospital, by letter of law, we should be pulling you over, stopping you, activating EMS, and waiting for EMS and providing first aid until they arrive. That's not always what happens, but that is what we're supposed to do. Let's see here. I don't know what Starlight Tours is. Do you have to show ID when stopped by police in Canada? If you're driving, you do. If you're driving a motor vehicle, you have to. If you're just walking down the street, you don't have to. You could be asked for it, but you don't have to provide it. If you're operating a motor vehicle, or if you have to identify yourself under the Highway Traffic Act if you're riding a bicycle. Now, identifying yourself doesn't always have to be with ID, but for a driver of a motor vehicle, it has to be with ID. Now, in terms of if you're walking down the street and you're being investigated for something criminal, could you be asked to identify yourself? Sure. Okay. So, can I have a colored license plate cover? No license plate covers are permitted. Let's Let's see here. Someone wants to know if they're getting pulled over by a corrupt cop, what to do. I'm not aware of any corrupt cops, but if you're being pulled over, have do what you're supposed to do, and which is pull over and act accordingly. And if you have a complaint after the interaction that you believe that something was wrong, you can always make a complaint. Let's see here. Can police go across the USA border? So if we are responding, like actively pursuing somebody, hopefully that USA border is going to stop them when they see the lights and sirens in pursuit. No, we aren't police officers in the States unless we have special arrangements made in advance. We are only police officers in the province of Ontario, and for our RCMP, for instance, they're police officers across Canada. But chances are we're going to be making a lot of phone calls well in advance of reaching any borders, so that they might be waiting before we get there. Okay. My principal swears at my class. Is that okay? You know what? I'm not aware of any law that prevents people from swearing. There might be rules or ethics violation, and maybe it's not appropriate. That's something that your parents or you can take up with the school board. What's the safest way to avoid a moose? Good question. I have no idea. My moose avoiding experience is slim to none. Ryan Pin was in. I didn't get to say hello because I wasn't looking your way until now. Now you're leaving, and have a great day too, Ryan. Take care. Linda popped in for a good morning. Hope you had a great Christmas and a great Happy New Year. Thank you for helping us all. It's my pleasure, Linda. A long time no see. A whole 2 weeks of not being online. People coming back. And Kayla's here. Good morning to you. Cordell.
Okay, but who are you?
Who am
And
I?
where are you? Are you in the
Where am I?
office?
I'm back in the office. Yes, it is. It is me, Sean, Traffic Services, Toronto Police, Ontario, Canada. Back in the office after 2 weeks of vacation. So this is why folks are welcoming me back. It is nice to be back. Let's see here. Can an undercover cop give you a citation? Undercover cops do not come up to you and say, "Hi, I'm undercover." Plainclothes cops, officers who are not wearing the uniform, but are not people who are actually undercover. Undercover means they don't say they're police officers, so they wouldn't come up to you and give you a citation. They're undercover. They wouldn't blow their cover for a parking ticket or a speeding ticket. But a plainclothes officer, yes, they can. Okay. When is it legal for a cop to search your vehicle? Whether they're empowered by, or you can consent to a search. We can search for various reasons. So search incident to arrest, search because we have a warrant. There's a bunch of different reasons. So usually they have a legitimate lawful reason to, or you've consented to it. That's maybe the simplest of terms. Okay, when is police? What is this? When is police emergency response team used versus federal army emergency response? Federal or military aren't called in. The police handle their own stuff. We don't call in the army for at least I have no experience with calling in any of that. But we have our own, and most police services have their own emergency response teams, and the army doesn't get involved. Okay, are wheel spacers illegal? I'm going to say yes, because they generally cause your tire to extend beyond that of the wheel well, and that would be illegal, make them improper. Okay. How illegal is it to drive in oncoming traffic? It's very illegal.
How does one quantify that? How illegal?
It's not only illegal, it's extremely dangerous. It's moderately illegal. No, it's illegal. It violates the HTA and can be considered dangerous, could be criminal. Depending on the situation, obviously, not every situation is the same. I mean, when you make a left turn, you're technically driving into oncoming traffic for a moment. That's not illegal, necessarily. But yeah, driving into oncoming traffic, bad. Don't do that. KB78691 says, "Hey, buddy, police officer from Finkgerm in UK." So I'm assuming, I'm not sure if that's Germany in the UK or if Finkgerm is a city. Either way, hi. Thanks for shouting out. Let me. You have no bio. You have no content. I'm going to follow you so you can stay in touch. You're a private account. Oh, that's why. Okay. Is excessive camber illegal on a motor vehicle? Yes, it is. Obviously, well, as soon as you add the word excessive camber, excessive anything is generally a sign of it not being legal or conforming to the rules. But camber reduces or changes the contact patch of a tire, changes the and generally takes it from where the intended contact patch is and puts it on the sidewall, making it very unsafe. So you could have your license plates pulled for that, depending on the severity. In other words, unsafe, and be charged for an unsafe vehicle. Why is it illegal to have your wheels stick out? Because you have to have your wheels covered by a fender, and mud flaps as well, I believe. It's a combination thereof. You can't. You'd be rooster tailing in the rain. You'd be spraying everybody with wheel spray. So that's not permitted. Not to mention the fact that if you made contact with a pedestrian, you've made it that much more dangerous. So any vehicle that has wheels sticking out from their fenders is technically illegal. That's why you see wide body kits where fenders are extended to cover the tires. If you want it to be wide, you got to cover them. Let's see here. Stopped insurance, car and driveway, pay for sticker, question mark. Depends on your municipality. You may be required to have stickers in order to have a vehicle on your driveway. Depends on your municipal laws. Cordell says he's got to take off. Have a good day. But your question, if you're still here, can you drive on the road for e-bikes? E-bikes can drive on the road just as bicycles, as long as they conform to e-bike rules. Can I use a phone at a red light? No, you may not. Not permitted. Can speed traps be hidden? Yes, they can. Do cops care about seatbelts anymore? Absolutely, we do. I would say it's not one of the big four, but it's the next highest thing. Seatbelts are absolutely required. If you don't wear one, you're going to get hurt in the event of a collision, and we want to prevent people from getting hurt, seriously injured, and killed. And seatbelts do just that. License expires soon. All facilities are booked. If your license is a G1 or G2, M1 or M2, it's extended until December 31st, 2022 to allow you more time to get your G-Class license. Do squad cars have cameras to identify criminals? We have in-car cameras, and many of our officers are wearing body cams. So I don't know what you mean by identify criminals. Like, is it like a facial recognition kind of thing? That we don't have. How illegal is it to drift in snow? It's stunt driving. Can I drive alone with a G1 at night? No, you cannot drive with a G1 at night. During the day in a tree, there's no driving alone with a G1. It is only a license that allows you to operate a motor vehicle while being supervised directly by a fully licensed G-Class driver with 4 years experience in the passenger seat, as long as they have no alcohol or less than 0.05 blood alcohol content. So it's a conditional learner's permit. It's not a driver's license. So never can you drive alone. Never, ever.
Is it considered littering if I throw a cigarette butt out my window?
Absolutely. I've laid the charge several times for that very reason. You cannot throw anything out the window. Cigarettes, and that's like really bad stuff to throw out the window, because it's not tobacco and biodegradable. It is a filter, which is crap for the environment. But anyway, so yes, it's littering. What do you think of the new stunt driving law? The one where we take and hold vehicles for 14 days and take licenses for 30, and the fact that on conviction you lose your license for a year on your up to a year? No, I have to look at it again, but it's like 1 year, 3 year lifetime ban. Like, it's really serious. And do I think it's good? Yeah, absolutely, I do. Do I think that you should be able to do things on your own private property, if that's the question you're asking? You have to know that the spirit of the law was for other reasons. It's not to hang out in your backyard waiting for you to stunt drive. I don't think it was intended for off-road vehicles and doing what people do with off-road vehicles on tracks and whatnot. But is there an issue? Yeah, there is. There's a general issue around the activities surrounding stunt driving, and it has to be addressed because society says it's not permitted. So that's the deal. And there's no real reason that anyone needs to do this. When I first read it, I'm like, well, how are you supposed to learn how to drive in the snow? Because as a kid, I used to go into a parking lot and slide around and have some fun, and sort of get my my winter driving gears on, is the way I used to talk about it. But in truth, learning to drive is learning how to avoid losing control, not intentionally losing control and trying to regain it. If you can drive slower, you're going to avoid issues. And if you do lose control, that's recovering from a unintentional loss of control. It's a very different mindset, and it is all about mindset. DUI on a bicycle, can you be charged? No, not on a bicycle, but yes, on an e-bike. So DUI requires a motor vehicle, and it's under the qualifications of motor vehicle under the criminal code, not the Highway Traffic Act. It's a federal law as opposed to a provincial. And the criminal code says anything other than muscular power is a motor vehicle under their definitions. Thus, you can be charged for DUI on anything that moves without muscular power. So bicycle, I think arguably, bicycle doesn't count, but e-bike absolutely does. How are the bright blue taxi roof lights legal? I don't know which bright blue taxi lights you're referring to, but if they're not projector bulbs, if they're simply accent bulbs, they may be permitted. But if you're having a flashing beacon, that's a problem because they're regulated lights. I'd have to see which ones you're talking about. And I don't know that they're specifically legal or not. But if it's an accent light, it shouldn't be a problem. Projector, it's a difference. Depends on the strength of that bulb. Okay. Am I allowed to drink water or coffee while driving? Yes, as long as it doesn't lead to you losing control of your vehicle, because that could be careless driving. Obviously, you need to be focused on the task at hand, which is driving. Are you able to pass on a double yellow line? Yellow lines, white lines, lines on the road generally are not enforceable. There's no law that says thou shalt not cross a line. There are laws about not listening to signs that say don't cross a specific line, like no passing here to crossing. Those are regulated signs. So that would be a ticket for disobeying the sign, not disobeying the line. So it depends on the situation. Can I call for worry over animal abuse? Yeah, you can call. There's actually a main number. I don't have it handy, but there's an animal investigation department. What's the right word for that? Let me see here. Ontario Animal Cruelty. It used to be the OSPCA. But now I think it's under the Ministry of the Attorney General. Let's see here. 18339 animal. It's animal welfare. Cruelty to any animals is not tolerated in Ontario. If you think an animal is in distress or being abused, call 18339 animal, and that's 264-625. And Q put it on screen at the same time. Okay. Are you allowed to eat and smoke while driving? You can eat as long as it doesn't cause issues with your driving, because if it results in a collision, you're in trouble. You're responsible. If you smoke, you can smoke anything that is legal, but you cannot smoke anything at all, or even vape, if you have a child under the age of 16 in your motor vehicle. That's a charge under the, what is it called? Under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. We've got a Kayla Draconis who's on YouTube coming in with a question. Speed related. Let's say you're driving a bus with a explosive on board, and it will. Okay, we're Keanu Reeves reference. Yeah, I'd be on the horn with the police real quick. Hello from Novosibirsk, Siberia, Russia. Did I say that right? Novosibirsk? Novosibirsk. I don't know. I'm going to have to work on that. But hello to Russia, to Nick in Russia. I was working on Russian this weekend. My daughter wanted to know how to. My family is from Russia, and she wanted to learn how to say a few things. So she wanted to know how to ask for water. So it was the "Я хочу вода, пожалуйста." We were working on basic things in Russian. Anyway, OG says in regards to animal cruelty, you can also call 311. Good advice. Okay.
Someone in chat says, when you call in for an impaired driver and the driver is arrested, do I need to appear in court?
If you're calling simply to, you might. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. But that's, it depends if you're contacted afterwards as a witness. Generally speaking, when someone is pulled over and investigated, the officer may or may not need your information because they're going to make their determination based on their observations, not just by the fact that a call came in. But it is possible that you could be called in, and that shouldn't dissuade you. You should be the honored and very respected participant who's helping to keep people safe. If it happens, I appreciate it may be uncomfortable, but it is. It could be something very important to keeping somebody off the road who could be hurting somebody else. Avery Leto wants to know, is it true that you're 6'5"? Yes, it is true. Okay. What is this? What happens if you... I don't know what this one is. Okay. Am I allowed to plow my main roads? Sorry, am I allowed to plow main roads with my personal, I'm assuming, plow? I understand that you cannot. I'm not well versed in the plow law, but I'm based on other comments that I have read from other folks who have said, why am I not allowed to plow main roads? I'm assuming it's not, but I've never read that law. How can I join the Toronto Police Service? Great question. Great place to work. You can go to our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. And there you can get all sorts of great information from our talent acquisition unit. And they are the fine folks who will be making your transition to policing possible. You can see on that website all of the required or the requirements. And great place to start. Wonderful source of information. And if you have more questions, contact recruiting, the talent acquisition unit. They will help you with all of that. Are police trained to trick citizens? No. I don't know what we'd be tricking you into doing. Generally speaking, we arrive well after the fact, and we charge those that have evidence pointing and supporting charges. Let's see here. Traffic ticket, if you're a cop, will it help in court? I don't know what you mean. Like, will it help if I'm a police officer after I get charged for a ticket? I've heard some really bad stories of police officers defending themselves in court and in the jurisdictions that they were. I don't think it helps anything. How illegal is my muffler delete? It's very illegal. If you don't have a muffler, you're going to get a charge for improper exhaust or muffler, and additionally, because it's now louder, you could also be charged for unnecessary loud noise. How do you like your job? I love my job. It's the job I've always wanted. Not necessarily being on TikTok. Wasn't ever my goal. But being a member of the Toronto Police Service, being a motor squad officer, this is the best job in the world. Okay. How much trouble can I get into for driving high? Well, you're impaired driving. So what happens? Well, you're first, if you're caught, and I hope you are, you would be receiving a 90-day suspension on your license. You would be criminally charged for impaired operation. You would then be going to court to defend yourself, and you would additionally be facing major and long-term effects, not only about having a conviction on your or a conviction on your criminal history, creating a criminal history for yourself, but you're talking about long-term issues in terms of being able to drive again. And as you continue to do that, if you had subsequent convictions, the possibilities go up as to whether you're going to serve time in jail, you're going to have a multiple year suspension for driving, and the fact is you could really hurt somebody. Aside from the penalties, you could really hurt somebody. You can kill somebody. And that may not be what you're ever thinking of doing, but people don't consider the consequences of potentially being a criminal afterwards, and having on your conscience the fact that you could have hurt somebody or may have hurt somebody. You look at the news in recent years. There's a lot of horrible stories of loss of life, whether it be people who are high or drunk or both that were driving. So, okay. Do you have to move over for MTO ERU with lights on? Yeah, if you have lights, their emergency vehicles pull over. Also, because you may not know who they are before they get there. Let's see. If the way is clear, am I able to throw an apple core? You're littering. Doesn't matter if it's biodegradable. You're littering. Bruce McNeil wants to know how many tickets are issued by the Toronto Police as compared. I've never compared those things. I don't know. Okay. As a G2 driver, can you drive under your parents' insurance? If you live with your parents, most insurance companies want you to be listed on the policy and pay a small premium. The deal is that you are legally, from a police perspective, able to operate a vehicle that is insured, and as long as you're a licensed driver. The issue becomes if you get into a collision and your insurance company decides not to cover it because you decided not to pay whatever they want to charge. So you got to make sure it's legal. Now, if you don't live with them and you're occasionally borrowing the vehicle, it's an entirely different situation. Insurance companies generally do not need you to pay a premium for that. Okay. Not a firefighter says, "Welcome back, sir. Hope your holiday was restful." It was. It was. I got used to being at home and saving the drive, but I'm actually very happy to see my friends here at work. Work is as much a social thing as it is a work thing. So it's very nice to see my friends here. Okay, what's your favorite part of the job? Helping people, honestly. It's being useful, being helpful, being participating in something better. In this particular situation, as a traffic officer, it's keeping the roads safe. It's keeping people, getting them help when they need it. Most of the people that I deal with and dealt with when I was on the road were people who would have never been involved with policing if it wasn't for an unfortunate event, a collision, whether it meant that they were hurt or just having their day derailed. The fact is they didn't plan on it. And being able to help people who need it is very rewarding. Okay. Can I use an LED light bar on my truck? Off-road you can. For on-road driving, generally no. I don't want to say absolutely no because there may be new fandangled inventions that meet the requirements, but you can have no more than 4 headlights projecting to the front of your vehicle that are more than 300 candela in power, and those LED light bars have like 100 different bulbs and sometimes more than that, and they can't be properly directed, so I don't believe that they meet the qualifications. Is it illegal to drive too slow? Driving unnecessarily slow without a reason, thus unnecessary, can be is a charge that can be laid. Is it often laid? No. Why is it not often laid? Because generally speaking, people aren't driving slow enough to be impeding traffic to the point where it's a concern. And there has to be no reason. So, okay, what's a good reason? Road conditions are bad. It's icy. I'm slowing down. Totally reasonable. People get upset because they're generally most people get upset because they are wanting to drive far in excess of the speed limit. And if you're driving below the speed limit, which is perfectly legal within reason, then the speed differential may be great, but the speed differential from the speed limit to where these people are driving may not be. Speed differential being how fast the fast person who is upset compared to the person who is just driving around, not in a rush, which is kind of where everyone should be. The speed limit is the maximum you can do, not the minimum. Okay. Can I be ticketed for being? I don't know what that is. Is it designated driver? I don't know what the question is, Mr. Jonesy. Okay. Can you get a ticket for no front plate? Absolutely. In Ontario, if you're registered here, you're obligated to have both of your plates on display. Your front plate has to be in the front of your vehicle. Your rear plate has to be in the rear, and it must be illuminated by a light source of 3 candela or more. So why is that important? Because people don't like to put front plates on. I got a whole video about that. I've got probably multiple videos on that. What if you're old and you drive slow? Well, slow isn't a specific number. If you're older and drive slower than someone who's in a rush, that's legal, as long as you're not, obstructing or impeding traffic. But that's, again, it's all depends. Depends. Designated driver. So what do you mean ticketed for being designated driver? So if you're a designated driver and you have no alcohol in your system and you're driving legally, I don't understand the context of the question of can you be ticketed? Yeah, you can be ticketed if you break the law. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. Got 2 minutes to go.
What
Hey,
about? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
What about collector cars? Do they need front plates?
Classic cars, there's I don't know, are the collector cars rear plate only? I thought they were both. There are certain stipulations for classics, 30-year-old plus vehicles, and I don't know that if you're talking about there's two things. There's an ability to put a year plate on that is an addition to the issued plate for your vintage vehicle. So it all depends. And I don't have a good answer for you because I haven't read this in a while. So if you want to throw me a DM about vintage vehicles, we can go and do a deep dive in there for you. There's an enormous fly flying around here. Like this is I don't know what's eating. I don't know
It's
who's feeding this
December
fly.
though.
Where'd it come from? These big lights have drawn him in.
I see.
That's the
Something
biggest
needs
fly
to be
I've seen.
cleaned out.
What's he eating? Anyway, Traffic Guy 101 says, thank you for your help and service. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, too. That was a very loud email or alert message. Let's see here. Hello from Australia. How often do you work with the provincial police? Not very often, but that's not infrequently, but not frequently. It's as needed. And going back to Australia, the shout out from Australia, where in Australia are you? I had a great time traveling Australia years ago to visit my family that lives there. They were based out of Melbourne. Okay. Is it safer being a police officer in Canada versus the U.S.? I think for a lot of reasons it is, but it's by no means safe. It's just safer. It's a very different thing. There's a lot fewer guns, I think, being carried by the average person here. That makes somewhat of an impact. There's a different gun culture there. I've seen some wild videos of traffic stops there, and I've seen some wild traffic stops and things here. So it's dangerous wherever you go. It's a dangerous career, or a higher risk career than, let's say, I don't even know what to say now. What's less risky? Someone's asking, what is the difference, or sorry, what is the Big Four? Big Four are the Big Four driving behaviors that lead to serious injury and death, and that's speeding, distracted driving, impaired driving, and aggressive driving. And those obviously break down into silos to larger groups of activities. But the Big Four are the ones that are most often related to our serious injury and death calls when it comes to collisions. So we focus on those. If you're driving fast, if you're aggressively driving, if you're distracted on a cell phone, or if you're impaired, that's who we're looking for 9 times out of 10. So we're busy with those. And the small things have not always, not that they fall into the cracks, but people say, "Well, I see license plates all over the place that are illegal." Yeah, because we want to catch the people who are hurting others, and we don't focus on the license plate. But I'll tell you something: if we pull you over for speeding and you got an illegal license plate, you might get 2 tickets that day. So the priority is on safety always. Okay. I want to see if there's anything really awesome that's sticking out here.
Can we do video call while we're driving?
No, video call is still distracted driving. You cannot have any screen with active video on it, whether it be. I pulled up beside someone and educated them because they were watching a soap opera while they were driving, and they said, "Well, I'm not watching. I'm just listening." No. The screen is on your dashboard. I mean, I appreciate that they had a mount, but they were watching a show, not permitted. And the same ticket for using your cell phone, entertainment device, handheld communication, it's all the same thing in terms of the impact.
Here's one you're going to enjoy. What kind of police motorcycles do you guys have?
Toronto Police has a fleet of Harley Davidson, is it FLHT? It's what is it called? The Ultra Classic. It's the bagger. We have a. I just happened to have a picture of my my bike. I had done a picture at Fort York. So that is the Harley that we have a fleet of. We have quite a number of these, and they're fantastic. Lots of fun. Great motorcycle. Not so good when it's in parade mode, because going slow they get hot. Okay. Can you drive with temporary plates? You can drive temporarily on a temporary plate. I believe you have 7 days, 10 days. In any case, you cannot drive forever. Okay, let's see here. That was the motorcycle question. Scrolling. You know what? It is 10 days. Thanks, Q. All right.
Is someone
Any
printing something?
Someone's walking with loud pockets.
Okay.
Any idea how to renew my car or how much to renew my car tags? So it depends on when you expired. The fact is there's no discount for renewing. It's the current rate and the rate of the years that you missed plus the year that you're going into. So you may be renewing for 3 years if you haven't renewed in 2. So yeah, there's no secrets there. Check the MTO site. They'll have all the information that's up to date. I actually don't know. I just give them my credit card and say, please make my plates good for another year.
What happens if you drive underage in a parking lot without a permit?
Not much on private property. The requirement for a driver's license or the ticket for driving without one isn't enforceable. So if you are driving underage in a parking lot, you can't be charged for driving without a license. However, if you were stunt driving in that parking lot, you could lose the vehicle and be charged for everything under the stunt driving, and even receive a suspension, which is like, well, what's that? What are you going to take away? We actually generate a driver's license number for you, and a suspension would still be registered. Okay. I don't see anything else that's jumping out at me as amazing questions that I need to jump on right now. How fast can I drive on the Highway 401? The legal speed limit, 100 kilometers an hour. That's it. That's all. Listen, it's been a slice. It's been nice to get back into the groove. You had a few technical difficulties in the beginning, but we made it through. Thanks so much for spending time. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. If you don't already follow us, please follow us. And if you don't follow me, you can get me at VoiceOver Cop on. You can get me anywhere. Twitter, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. VoiceOver Cop is me. So we'll see you around. Take care.
Bye, TikTok.
Bye-bye.
It's good.
Okay. Let's see here.
Ooh.
We're going to end this one too. Okay, YouTube and everybody else, have a good one. Nick, take care. I still got to figure out how to say Novosibirsk. I don't know. Siberia. I still make a mistake.